Both women?
Yeah.
Female drag queen. It's not the same thing, is it? Dressed rightly as girls. You're better. Because I've never known. It's not the same thing. You can't. How could you have like a... You couldn't have a male lesbian, could you? That's right. You're contradicting a term. I can tell you, this programme, transgender thing, has sent people around the twist. Why don't you just class yourself as women, artists, or you have to be classed as a drag queen? You need to class as a drag queen to get a slot in a gay pub. Because if you do, that's very, what's the word? Discrimination. Why can't you just class yourself as a woman? What is a drag queen? Why you want a drag queen? You can't. So why can't you just become something yourself? Why do you feel the need you have to become a drag queen just to be accepted? No. Why? Who told you you actually class so good about a drag queen? You actually just... why do you have to think you're a drag queen? You're not. You're not. Would you get a job anyway as a drag queen? You're a man, really.
Everybody is valid. To me, everybody. Everybody's valid. There are no invalids.
Most definitely. For me, like obviously I'm a woman, I'm a female drag queen. I think it's more of a new thing, like most definitely, perhaps not in London, but in Birmingham it's very quite new, and there's only a few of us, and we have like a lot of input, I think, a lot of control and power as well, just as much as the men as well, and I think it's more interesting at the moment for some people because they haven't seen it before, and we are like the shiny new thing, I think.
Yes, and I always have, just because I think it's it's just a fucked up thing to say to a woman as a male doing female impersonation. I suppose you aren't allowed in this space, you aren't allowed to kind of curate your own gender in the same way that we can, you know, when they have that experience and we don't. We're just clowns. I think that sometimes, like, female drag is becoming so much more prominent, and they fucking come out strong because they know life as a woman. I think it comes down, one, to quite low-key misogyny, and two, just because of the history of it, it has always been a field dominated by men, in the same way that doctors were all men, you know. It's one of the same positions, it's just an unorthodox one. Women are breaking glass ceilings, or were breaking glass ceilings all the time, and this is kind of the last one left. Drag is the last space to be infiltrated, and rightfully so, by women. I just think, yeah, history and sexism is about it. It's all well and good to say... In fact, yeah, I think another part of it is because males who do drag usually do female impersonation, and people feel kind of cheated by the idea that a woman becoming as a woman it's just not. There have been no layers added, there's been nothing done, but female drag queens at the minute are kind of, I don't know, expressing a massive amount of creativity. They're completely subverting kind of every trope of what a normal drag queen does, and it's sick as fuck. Like, please continue.
I definitely think they're valid and they're important and they're necessary, and I like that they are there, and I like that they're happening, and I think they answer a different question to male drag queens, because they're putting a different idea into people's conscience, and making them question it and think about it, and
Yeah, I do. But for a long time I felt kind of skeptical. I was kind of like
Skeptical.
about it because that's kind of what I've been taught to think. Like, you're taught to think drag's just about a man dressed as a woman being, you know, silly, crazy, but no. Trying out drag and being a drag queen and representing female drag queens, definitely valid. Like, I am valid, and valid as they come. I'm a drag queen.
Absolutely, there's still the effort and the work that goes into it. It's not discounted just because they're a woman. You can do whatever you want and it's just as valid as anyone else.
They do. Everyone can be a drag queen, no matter where you are, who you are. Everyone can show their creativity. It's art. It's art at the end of the day. What does it matter?
No, that's a man.
So do you think the lawyers
Right. I would say straight off, girl.
is it not though?
No.
You still think my drag queen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're bored.
No, I'm not.
Oh, I don't know. Probably, yeah.
Most definitely.
Well, I don't know. It don't really work though, does it? That's the old form.
Everybody that's artistic is important. You know, I'm not a female impersonator. I don't wear tits. I don't tuck so much. You know, because it's like putting a mattress into a pillowcase. Everybody's important. It's not a case of male or female or, you know, it's literally just, hi, here we are. The drag I do is genderless, the drag that you do is genderless. You know? I don't wear tits, I don't really tuck. You know, drag is drag. To me, drag is, well, it's kind of been, it's been put into boxes. For me, drag has always been, drag, I do a show, that's one form of drag. I do this, that's another form of drag. And then when I take my clothes off, that's another form of drag. You know? It's, I wouldn't say it's genderless. But, I don't know. It depends what you feel.
To promote each other, we've all got to know that we can all do what we want, and it doesn't matter whether you're a woman or a guy, just do what makes you happy, like promote what you want, be creative, do however you want, just do your art, make yourself happy, like do whatever you want.
It's all art at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters what you have in between your legs. So long as you're happy and expressing yourself, like who cares? It just doesn't matter. So long as you're doing what you want to do, like it's irrelevant, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're important and I think they're current. And I think it's a nice way that the drag scene has turned. I think it's interesting and it makes people question and it makes people stop. And it's injected new life into the drag scene because people are so expectant of drag queens, but now there's female drag queens that cause them to question and stop and think and reevaluate.
I think the presence of female drag queens in the club has definitely shifted. It's kind of shifted the attitude in general somehow, just because, I don't know, it feels like when you're in a club and it's still just men in drag, it still feels like quite a male dominated space, whereas kind of having women in our drag troupe and in our extended drag fam as well, just, it kind of makes people more aware of what we're trying to do, which is like, gender is a fucking lie, like this is all just artifice and adornment, and I think female drag queens are helping to kind of hammer that home more now, just because people are so used to seeing a man in a dress, whereas people tend to ask more questions and be more curious if you're a girl, because they want to know, like, why on earth are you presenting this way? Like, why do you feel the need to, you know, put on all this adornment and go out and have a nice time, whereas with drag queens it's expected. That question is never asked anymore. We're a fixture we've kind of become commodified already. People are already completely used to the idea of a man in a wig and a dress. It's old hat, it's old trick. A woman in 3 wigs and a dress is a lot more interesting. Because it all helps to smudge the lines of what you should be doing, and I think people really feed off that energy because they need to know that that's all a fucking joke. You can do whatever you want.
Because we're cool. It's like as backwards as it gets. Like a girl dressing as a girl to go out is like really punk and cool and new and rebellious, and I love her. I admire every single one of them, and I back them up. Yeah. It's just different. Like it's unique, and people should appreciate it because they've never seen it before, and now in their face with no choice. So, yeah, it's cool.
I think it's really important because there's probably a lot of women that want to do it. I know I get a lot of people say to me that they wish that they could do it and they've never thought that it would be something that they could do, which, so, like, that's mad. When the female drag queens are out and other women can see, I think that's really important that they can feel like they have access to those creative things just as much as men do. It's such a male-dominated job or sort of like creative outlet. So by them seeing us, it's just, I think it might give them a bit of encouragement to just go and explore what they want to do creatively. I did find out a couple of days ago that I was the first female drag queen in Birmingham, which was amazing. Like that's like a history thing, and I thought it had happened before. I thought there would have been women. There's a lot of like strong women in Birmingham. I thought they would have done something. I just presumed that someone else had. It's definitely like I feel very proud. It's probably like the first time I felt really proud actually when I found that out. When I remember the feeling when I was in the Pride Parade. I was getting ready and I was in the float and I felt very proud because I'd heard like from talking to people who are older and that had been on the scene for a while that they thought I had been the first female drag queen on the float. So I felt very proud to represent, a community that has like definitely taken me in, and I've never felt more at home than down here. And I get to stand in the club and on the floats and be seen as a like massive supporter of gay rights, and that's really important to me. That's why I started working down here. I used to work down here in the bar, and it's definitely like a proud feeling.